3. Sex Offender Registry Myths. On today's Modern Day Leper with Ahmad Blakemore. Hello, how are you? And welcome back to another edition of Modern Day Leper with Ahmad Blakemore. I'd like to say hello to all of our lady lepers, all of our leper fans, and our entire Modern Day Leper fan community. It's great to see you guys. It's great to be back. Thank you to everyone who's engaging in the videos as well, who leave comments, who start discussions. These discussions have gotten very important to the channel and to all of us coming together to learn from each other. And at that, this is where this particular video came from. It came from a conversation that we were having on the channel. And these conversations get heated sometimes, they get very deep, but these conversations are very important. It gives us all a chance to communicate, that we can all be heard, that we can all give our opinions and come to sometimes agreement and sometimes not. But in the process, we all learn from each other and get new ideas. So this video today talks about the mythology of what people think the registry is all about. And the number one myth that we'll talk about is the registry is dramatic. The registry is dramatic. It will only give you half truth. So when people hear things about people on the registry, they believe they're getting the whole truth. They're not getting the whole truth. And when you get the drama, you don't get the real story. What I mean by that is, I personally, when I got out, I was assigned to my mother's home. My mother and I had different ideas as to what I was going to do with myself once I got out. Because we were in disagreement, my mother was unhappy and said, well, I don't think you should be here. And because she didn't want me there, I left. I went to my brother's house. My brother lived in an apartment. He lived on the second floor. I got to my brother's house. It's pouring down rain. I'm inside the apartment building in the hallway, sitting on the steps, waiting for my brother to get home. The apartment manager sees me, calls the police. Now, when the police get there, of course, they run my name. They find out that I'm a registered sex offender. When it hits the scanner that there's a registered sex offender in an apartment building, of course, the news people get wind of it. Nobody said that this man was sitting there waiting on his brother to come home, sitting in the hallway because it was raining and he was trying to stay dry. What they said was sex offender lurking in hallway about 2:30, about the time children get out of school. Are your children safe? Do you understand what I'm saying? What was actually happening had nothing to do with what the news people said I was doing. I had no idea what time it was. I just knew it was pouring down rain and I was waiting on my brother. But when they want ratings, you will find out that the ratings are more important than the truth. And so when you're trying to get to truth, you won't get truth. Because when something happens with someone on the registry, you will only get the drama. And the drama is going to be half truth. Yes, I was a registered person sitting in a hallway. Yes, but I was not looking for children. I was trying to stay dry and wait for my brother to come home. There are two parts of any story: the truth, which is the logical part of it, and the falsehood, which is the emotional part of it. And they want us to get caught up in what we call emotional fear programming. And once we start getting caught up in that emotional fear programming, we go straight to the fear part. We go straight to the agony, the tension. We pay no attention to what the actual truth is because we're caught up in the drama that there's a sex offender in the building waiting for your children. Not true. I had no idea whether there were children in that building or not, or if any children lived there or not, because that's not what was on my mind. But that's what happens when you hear stories about registered people interacting with police officers. Myth number 2, people on the registry hate law enforcement. This is crazy. But the more I work with this channel, the more I interact with people, the more I see the comments. They always talk about police officers. Somebody needs to call the police. Somebody needs to tell the police about this channel. Somebody needs to alert his local police departments that he has a channel talking about helping sex offenders. The first person I told about this was a police officer. The first person I asked to interview was a police officer. A lot of the people who locally look at my videos here in town are police officers and lawyers. They're the people who give me the information that I have so that my information is accurate. Someone asked me, was I a lawyer? Most of my clients are lawyers, and they tell me information, and I pass that information on to you when I believe that information is pertinent for the channel. And so if you saw the video that I did last year, it's called 3 relationships that every sex offender should have. One of the relationships on that list is law enforcement. Law enforcement. It seems crazy that registered people would want to collab with police officers, but I do it all the time. I'm always talking to police officers and lawyers. I want to have a good understanding of what these laws are, what they mean. I want to have a good understanding of what the boundaries are, what's allowed and what's not allowed. Now, don't get it twisted. There are a lot of police officers out there who are programmed to think a certain way. They have this emotional fear programming too, because not only are they police officers, their family members, their fathers, their brothers, their uncles, their granddads, they're people with children, and they're concerned about the welfare of their own families, as they should be, as well as safety in the community. So in certain cities, in certain states, when it comes time to go and do a home visit for registered people, you'll see police officers in riot gear or the military looking gear that they have to go and talk to sex offenders or pick up sex offenders. Why is that? Is it necessary? No, but it looks good to the community. It makes the community feel safer that police are cracking down hard on registered people who are a threat. It makes everybody feel better, but is it necessary? No, it's not. The person that comes and does the home visits in my area is one guy. He came the other day. He knocked on the door. I saw him. I tapped on the window. I said, "Hey, man, I'm in the shower." He said, "Hey, Ahmad, is that you?" I said, "Yeah, I'm in the shower." He said, "That's okay. I just wanted to make sure that you were there." "Yeah, I'm here, buddy." "No problem. Have a great day, man. I saw your last video." Law enforcement. We should have relationships with law enforcement. And people are always saying, if the police knew that you had this channel, the police do know I have this channel. Everybody knows I have this channel in my area because I'm always trying to talk to them. I'm always trying to get information. I'm always trying to get new knowledge. There is no reason for registered people to fear law enforcement. We are still citizens of the states and cities and municipalities that we live in. They're responsible for the safety of the community, but they're responsible for our safety as well. They have a responsibility to us as well. It's not just that we're the people on the outside looking to be arrested, where people are calling the police on us and we're always the one that's going to end up in handcuffs. No, it's not that way. The police have a duty to protect us as well. And so when we're asking them questions about these laws and what they mean and what these boundaries mean, it is their job to help us understand what these laws mean. Now, as far as the constitutionality of the whole situation, or whether it's actually working or not, these are other arguments that will be had at another time. But people on the registry by default are not afraid of law enforcement. It's just a myth. We have no reason to be afraid of law enforcement. And here is number 3. Myth number 3 is the big boy. The third myth on our list is everyone on the registry thinks the same way and wants to do the same thing. Everyone on the registry thinks the same way and wants to do the same thing. Nothing is further from the truth than this. Nothing. Absolutely, positively nothing is further from the truth. This is almost an impossibility. There are hundreds of thousands of people on the registry in the United States and around the world. Do you know how hard it is to get people to think alike? There was a comment left that 90% of the people on the registry deserve to be there because they're dangerous. 90%. That means 90% of the people on the registry is thinking about crime. Think about that. 90% of the people on the registry is thinking about a child or whatever you believe the danger to society is. Pick one. Let's say that it's children. 90% of the people on the registry are after children, when people in the United States who are attracted to children is less than 5%. That actually makes no sense. Let's look at it in logical terms. We used to have a church choir back in the day, and in that church choir, there was 20 people. And then someone says, who's going to lead the song? Who's going to lead the song? And everybody start looking at each other. And they start passing the microphone, and somebody pass it back, and then they would pass it back, and then somebody passes it back, because no one wants to lead the song. And there was only 20 of us. There wasn't hundreds of thousands of people, just 20. If you believe in whatever religion you believe in, for whatever your interpretation of that religion is, on any key principle, go ask 5 people what their interpretation of that particular principle is, and you're going to get 5 different answers. In politics, we have the liberals, we have the conservatives. We have 2 groups. Ask them about any one particular thing, whether it be abortion or whether it be the border, and you're going to get a ton of different answers from people in the same party. There will not be a 90% consensus of anything. And most of these people, in certain cases where you have groups, have met each other. Church groups know who each other are. They've met each other. Family members know each other. Other organizations and groups know each other. And you still won't get 90% consensus. Now take the registry, where most of these people have never met each other. They don't even know each other. There's hundreds of thousands of them. The only thing they have in common is a crime category. And from that category, we're going to deduce that 90% of them all think the same thing, all believe the same thing, all have the same ideas, all want to do the same thing, have the same goals. Something happened before prison that got them there. So you're saying that they all have the same goals after prison? It's not possible. It's just not mathematically sound to believe that 90% of the people on the registry are thinking the same thing. That's not possible. And to say that they are all a danger to society is still an unfounded statement. If I were a danger to society, how could I spend so much time with police officers? Surely they would have arrested me for something. I'm right next to them. How is that possible? You can't say something that was done 25 years ago is still in my mind today to want to go and do another crime similar to that. What's the proof? What's your evidence that I particularly am going to do that? Me, this person right here. Where is the proof that I personally want that for my future, for my life? That's on my vision board. Where's the proof? It doesn't exist. All of this is all part of this programming of fear. We have all been programmed to be emotionally attached to fear. Now, that is not to say that there are not individuals who are going to do stupid stuff. There are individuals who are going to do stupid stuff. But for the majority of people who wait on their out date, who sit around and just think about EOSing, and they sit around and they think about it, and they have goals, they have dreams, they have things that they want to do, they have a life that they want to catch up on, they know they're behind, and they want to get started on their life. And they know they've been sitting in this prison for years. And they're wondering, how far behind am I? Am I still going to be able to get a job when I get out? How much life will I be able to live once I'm free? Will I find a relationship? What's going to happen to me? Will people love me or hate me? Will I have a life worth living? That person is not thinking about, I wonder how fast I can commit another crime and come back to prison. I don't care how many people are on the registry. People are not sitting around thinking about crimes. The majority of people who are on the registry are trying to find a job, a place to live, love, honor, respect, somebody to give them a chance, a second chance. How do you live in the woods? How is me and my woman going to survive if she can't live with me because I'm in the woods and she's over there? Is she actually going to stay with me when she can replace me and find another guy? How is my business going to survive? You know, I'm trying to grow my ministry. There are people out here who need me, who need what I have to say, who need to hear my message. And I'm focused on that. And people are waiting for the videos. We are in a symbiont relationship to make each other's lives better. I can promise you, we're not sitting around wondering what crime we can commit. 90% of anything rarely happens. One thing we have to remember is that we are being trained and programmed to respond a certain way in society to things that make us feel emotion. When it comes to emotion, we turn off our logic. And with the logic turned off, we end up in chaos sometimes. Not to say that people don't have good ideas, good thoughts. We do. All opinions are valid. All people's opinions are valid. But we have to look at it and say, am I being emotional or am I being logical? Does this make sense? Does this make sense? These are the things that make society move and go forward. Understanding that safety rails are put in place for all of us to be safe. I believe in safety. I believe in public safety. I believe in following the laws. This is why I spend time with lawyers and police officers to understand what these guidelines are so that we can stay within them. But also to understand what the mythology is. To know when someone is taking something out of context, when something is happening and that part is totally dismissed for a more emotional story. To say that people on the registry are afraid of law enforcement, to make it seem as if they have something to hide or run from law enforcement. Generally, that's not the case. And to say that we all think alike when the only thing we have in common is a criminal classification is just incorrect. So I am here to help educate, and we will continue to have these conversations. It doesn't stop here. We will go on. We will continue to learn. We will continue to engage. We will continue until we understand, all of us together, what is going to keep us safe in our communities and in our families. My name is Ahmad Blakemore. I am the modern day leper, and I will see you on the next one. Thanks for listening. Bye-bye.